Do you feel a decline in your visual acuity? Are the words in your preferred books starting to appear less defined? Do you find yourself straining more to distinguish a known face across an expanse? Or perhaps the early light of day now feels unbearably harsh on your eyes? If any of these concerns register with you, understand this: you are not isolated. In previous discussions, we established how crucial nutrients like vitamins A, C, and E, along with specific foods such as chia and flax seeds, contribute to sustained eye health. However, my focus today goes deeper. Current scientific evidence strongly indicates that certain common daily foods, far beyond prescriptions or isolated supplements, hold a remarkable capacity to safeguard and fortify your vision as you age. These are not obscure ingredients or costly temporary trends. These are essential items readily available at any market, perhaps even within your kitchen right now. Specifically, I am presenting 5 particular foods that have undergone clinical examination for their direct influence on macular degeneration, retinal integrity, and the clarity of central vision. We will precisely dissect the mechanism of action for each, clarify their absolute necessity for your eyes post-60, and detail the optimal methods of preparation. Internalize this concept. Food is not mere sustenance. It is a fundamental form of medicine, and for your eyes, this fact is transformative. Therefore, if you are experiencing initial worry about vision clarity, or if your sole goal is to maintain robust eyesight for as long as possible, this message is directed to you. If you deem this data valuable, I urge you to subscribe immediately to ensure you receive future videos, each structured to support your journey toward remaining strong, independent, and vibrant. We will now proceed with the first vision-enhancing food. Prepare to be surprised by what is included on this list. Cantaloupe, a direct benefit for your retina. We begin with an item that is sweet hydrating and frequently dismissed when addressing ocular wellness: cantaloupe. That intensely orange melon, which you might simply enjoy on a summer afternoon, provides utility far exceeding its role as a pleasant fruit. It is, in fact, one of nature's most effective yet underutilized resources for protecting your vision, especially after your 6th decade. Here is the straightforward science. Cantaloupe is heavily concentrated with vitamin A, particularly in the forms of retinol and retinoic acid. These are the non-negotiable nutrients upon which your retina's proper operation fundamentally depends. Consider the retina the crucial nerve layer at the back of your eye, operating as your body's inherent camera sensor. Its job is to capture light and transmit visual data to your brain. This delicate tissue, however, begins to degrade with age, particularly if it is not receiving the necessary input. This is where the cantaloupe intervention occurs. 1 single cup of diced cantaloupe delivers approximately 30% of your required daily vitamin A. And since most consumption extends beyond 1 cup, often reaching 2, a single serving of cantaloupe can supply over half the vitamin A your eyes require for the day without any pill. I recognize that some patients express boredom with repetitive fruit consumption. Therefore, consider this simple, effective modification: grill it. Cut the melon into thick segments, quickly place them on a hot grill until clear sear marks appear, and then finish with a splash of fresh lime juice and a sprinkle of chili powder for an accent. The result is a profile that is sweet, smoky, and tangy, while remaining exceptionally beneficial for your eyes. This is the kind of practical adjustment that revitalizes healthy eating, transforming it into a rediscovery of simple pleasure. Alternatively, if grilling is not practical, simply combine chopped cantaloupe strawberries and a few mint leaves to produce a vibrant fruit salad that is both palatable and supports your retina with every mouthful. I have observed the positive effect of this change directly. One patient of long-standing Linda, aged 72, frequently dealt with a minor, persistent vision blur in the mornings. It was not critical, but it was enough to cause her to hesitate before reading the paper. Her diet was analyzed, and found to be predominantly nutrient-poor toast oatmeal crackers, a near absence of orange or green vegetables. We implemented one small change. She began to consistently integrate cantaloupe and dark leafy greens into her meals several times each week. 3 months later, her eye specialist documented a surprising stabilization in her retinal health. Her vision did not simply cease its decline, it became stable. She reported, "I had no idea fruit possessed that power." Most people remain unaware until they personally witness the results. This is why I share this with you. Often the most impactful solutions are not found in pharmaceuticals. They are sourced directly from your kitchen, and with cantaloupe, perhaps from your own garden. Next, we will examine a different seasonal favorite, golden textured and powerfully beneficial, not only for your eyesight, but also for your cognitive function. Remain focused. Corn, the strategic nutrient for vision and brain. We must now discuss a food integral to many diets, corn. You might perceive corn merely as a casual side at a cookout, or a simple addition for texture in a salad. From a medical vantage point, however, particularly concerning the health of your eyes and brain, after age 60, corn demands closer examination. The true efficacy of corn resides in two vital nutrients that your retinas constantly need: lutein and zeaxanthin. These are natural pigments present in yellow and orange produce. Within the eye, they concentrate in a small yet essential region known as the macula, which is the precise center of your retina responsible for detailed, sharp vision. Functionally, they act as your eye's intrinsic light filter, blocking damaging blue light, neutralizing oxidative stress, and actively protecting the retina's delicate nerve layers from degeneration over time. Yellow corn is recognized as one of the most concentrated natural sources of both lutein and zeaxanthin, containing significantly higher amounts than its white or blue counterparts. Consequently, your deliberate choice should be the yellow variety. It is not simply visually brighter, it is superior for your eyes. The benefit of corn extends beyond vision support. Emerging data indicates that corn protein may also facilitate improved cognitive function. This means it is simultaneously nourishing your eyes and providing fuel to the brain regions responsible for memory and focused attention. Additionally, the fiber content should not be ignored. Corn, particularly when consumed whole, such as on the cob or as popcorn, is an excellent source of dietary fiber, which promotes gut health. We now understand that gut health is directly linked to the health of both the brain and the eyes. Regarding preparation, the traditional method, corn on the cob, saturated in butter and salt, is suboptimal for retinal health. Instead, your process should be to boil the corn until it is barely tender, not soft. Subsequently, apply a small amount of extra virgin olive oil and a measured sprinkle of sea salt or lime juice. This retains the inherent sweetness and desirable texture without the inflammatory effects often associated with excessive saturated fat. For variation, corn serves as an excellent foundation for a light salad. Remove the kernels and mix them with chopped bell peppers, cooked beans, a small amount of olive oil, and lime. This is a mix that is refreshing, visually appealing, and densely packed with the exact nutrients your eyes require. Even a straightforward corn soup incorporating vegetable broth, cumin, turmeric, and garlic provides comfort and healing benefit. The key factor is the ease of integration. You are not required to drastically restructure your entire diet. You are simply making smarter choices within the meals you already enjoy. Therefore, the next time you see a vibrant yellow ear of corn, remember its purpose. It is not merely a seasonal pleasure, it is a critical asset for your vision and cognition. Collard greens, the necessary shield for your retina. Among all green vegetables, collard greens are profoundly undervalued concerning their ability to protect the eyes, particularly for individuals in later life. While leafy greens are universally recognized for general systemic and digestive benefits, collard greens contain a specific and potent combination of compounds that directly addresses the root causes of vision deterioration related to age. Let's analyze the components. First, collard greens are an immense source of vitamin A, the same essential element that sustains the retina, that delicate neural layer responsible for light reception and image formation. A single cup of cooked collard greens supplies roughly 80% of your daily vitamin A requirement. This represents a significant concentration in a small portion, which directly supports the cells essential for clear focus and vision in low-light conditions. But an additional unique component is concealed within these deep green leaves, a group of natural chemicals called sulforaphanes. Sulforaphanes act as powerful antioxidants that actively reduce inflammation at a cellular level, specifically targeting the minute blood vessels that supply the eyes. Chronic low-grade inflammation and poor circulation are recognized as two of the most significant contributors to age-related macular degeneration. Sulforaphanes counteract this by calming the immune response, enhancing blood flow, and ensuring the retina receives the continuous supply of oxygen and nutrients it needs to remain functional and precise. Furthermore, a compelling body of research is establishing a definitive link between gut health and ocular health. It is evident that when you nurture the beneficial bacteria in your digestive tract, the 39 trillion microbes residing there, you simultaneously benefit your nervous system, immune system, and your eyes. The mechanism is simple. Inflammation frequently originates in the gut. Collard greens are a superb prebiotic food, meaning they feed the healthy bacteria that are essential for systemic inflammation control, including the inflammation impacting your eyes. Your immediate thought might be, I have consumed collard greens, and they were either mushy or excessively bitter. This outcome is almost always due to incorrect preparation. Do not boil them until they are inert or smother them in saturated fats. Instead, take the mature leaves, remove the tough central stems, stack the leaves and roll them tightly like a cigar. Slice them into thin ribbons. Then quickly sauté them in a pan with a small amount of extra virgin olive oil, minced garlic, and a minimal application of salt. A small addition of vegetable broth can soften the texture, and a squeeze of lemon or a pinch of chili flakes introduces necessary brightness and balance. This is a flavorful, simple way to consume collard greens without compromising their immense nutritional value. To create a balanced meal, pair them with beans and rice, a traditional combination that supports your gut microbiome and provides sustained energy. Through minor, deliberate culinary choices, you are not simply consuming a side dish. You are actively supporting the part of your body that enables you to read, drive, recognize your family, and maintain your independence. This transcends mere nutrition. This is empowerment achieved one deliberate bite at a time. Sweet potatoes, a concentrated source of visual power. There is an undeniable comfort found in a warm, yielding mouthful of sweet potato. It might evoke memories of festive meals, or its inherent subtle sweetness may feel like an indulgence. Yet beneath that familiar orange exterior resides one of the most powerful eye-supporting nutrients available, vitamin A. Sweet potatoes are definitively one of the richest natural sources of this crucial vitamin in a format your body can readily absorb and effectively utilize. I want you to consider the data. A single cup of cooked sweet potato delivers over 200% of your recommended daily intake of vitamin A. That is not a typographical error. You are not just meeting a requirement, you are exceeding it derived from one modest serving. Why is this critical for your eyes? Vitamin A is absolutely essential for the maintenance of the light-sensing cells within your retina, specifically those that facilitate vision in low-light conditions and actively prevent night blindness. Furthermore, it plays a necessary role in protecting the eye's surface, the cornea, ensuring it remains smooth and transparent. When the body's vitamin A is low, initial symptoms may include dry eyes, blurred vision, or heightened light sensitivity. Over an extended period, however, a deficiency can inflict substantially more serious harm, particularly to the macula and optic nerve. The positive assurance here is that sweet potatoes deliver vitamin A via beta-carotene, a plant pigment that your body converts to active vitamin A only when the need exists. This inherent mechanism virtually eliminates the risk of excessive intake. Moreover, beta-carotene operates as a powerful antioxidant, neutralizing free radicals and significantly reducing the oxidative stress burden on your retinal cells. It is a simple, effective, and secure solution. In terms of preparation, sweet potatoes are remarkably adaptable for dietary integration. The simplest route is to wrap them in foil and bake them until soft. Slice them open and enjoy them as is, or add a light sprinkle of cinnamon or a negligible drizzle of olive oil. They can also be cubed and added to stews or soups, providing a hearty, nourishing foundation. My personal preferred method is a sweet potato soup simmered with onion ginger and a small quantity of coconut milk. Blend the mixture until smooth, and you have a warm, easily digestible bowl that is packed with eye-benefiting nutrients. No elaborate recipes or exotic components, just real food. Achieving real functional results within your system. The color serves as an indicator. That deep saturated orange is nature's declaration that this food is beneficial for your vision. By choosing sweet potatoes over refined carbohydrates or sugary foods, you are supplying your body with precisely what is required, not merely for basic function, but to actively safeguard one of your most irreplaceable senses. For such a simple action, this constitutes a major advancement. Eggs, the reliable source for your vision. For many, eggs have been an integral element of the morning meal. They are uncomplicated, versatile, and deeply familiar. What often goes unrecognized is that eggs, particularly the yolks, are a highly concentrated delivery system for the nutrients your aging eyes rely on. The critical compounds are lutein and zeaxanthin. These are carotenoids, plant-derived pigments that integrate into the retina to act as an active protective barrier. They successfully filter harmful blue light, mitigate oxidative stress, and assist in maintaining sharp central vision. These compounds should be familiar, as they are the same nutrients discussed in the context of corn. The crucial distinction is this. In eggs, lutein and zeaxanthin are present in a more bioavailable form, meaning your body's ability to absorb and utilize them is significantly enhanced. This distinction positions eggs as one of the most potent and practical foods for mitigating age-related macular degeneration. However, the quality of eggs is not uniform. The concentration of lutein and zeaxanthin in the yolk is directly dependent on the hen's diet. When selecting eggs, bypass standard options and look specifically for pasture-raised or free-range designations. These eggs are typically sourced from hens that consume a natural, varied diet, rich in greens and plants. That superior diet is directly reflected in the egg, specifically the yolk. The more intense the color of the yolk, a rich orange or reddish orange, the greater the likelihood of a high carotenoid content. A pale yellow yolk indicates a probable deficiency in these crucial eye-protecting nutrients. Now consider preparation. Hard-boiled eggs are an excellent starting point. They are simple, transportable, and require no added fat. A minimal amount of salt is sufficient. For a change, a brief dip in soy sauce adds flavor without compromising the health benefit. If you prefer to fry your eggs, dispense with the butter. Instead, use a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil, a heart-healthy fat that also supplies polyphenols, which are a class of antioxidants that support both brain and eye health. Scrambling is acceptable, but ensure you use low heat and a healthy oil and avoid overcooking the yolk. The essential nutrients reside there. A fact often overlooked is that egg noodles made with authentic egg yolk can contain up to 6 times more lutein and zeaxanthin than conventional wheat noodles. Choosing egg noodles for soups or stir-fries is a simple yet powerful optimization for your vision. Eggs confirm that potent nutrition does not require complexity. They are affordable, familiar, and exceptionally efficient at providing precisely what your eyes require most. In an era where vision loss is often viewed as inevitable, every small decision you make at the breakfast table can decisively shift the outcome in your favor. We have concentrated on the foods necessary to reinforce your eyesight. It is equally critical to identify and eliminate the elements that are progressively eroding it, particularly those you do not consciously observe. I consistently encounter 3 silent destructive factors in my older patients. They do not induce immediate discomfort or obvious early symptoms, but over time they systematically undermine your vision from within. The first culprit is excess sodium intake. Salt itself is necessary in minute quantities. The critical issue arises from excessive consumption often hidden in canned soups, processed snacks, and restaurant meals. Most individuals are unaware of the true volume of sodium embedded in their daily diet. Excessive salt elevates your blood pressure. This hypertension begins to damage the minute, delicate blood vessels that supply your retina. These vessels rely on a continuous, steady flow to deliver oxygen and essential nutrients to your light-sensing cells. Elevated blood pressure disrupts this flow. Over time, the vessel walls can weaken, become rigid, and eventually fail. This is the mechanism by which hypertension silently initiates the path toward vision loss. The second danger is ultra-processed food. These are the items in colorful packaging, pre-packaged meals with extensive ingredient lists and snacks with unnatural shelf lives. These products are formulated for maximum convenience and flavor, but they are typically saturated with preservatives, artificial additives, and harmful fats. The net result is the promotion of chronic systemic inflammation. Inflammation is a primary accelerator in the development of eye conditions, such as diabetic retinopathy and macular degeneration. It destabilizes blood vessels, compromises the immune system, and accelerates the deterioration of retinal tissue. The more processed food you consume, the greater the burden your body must overcome. The third threat is one that is particularly pervasive: overeating. As the body ages, metabolic rate declines, yet typical portion sizes often remain static or increase. This habitual consumption pattern leads to unnecessary weight gain, insulin resistance, and eventually type 2 diabetes. Diabetes is statistically one of the leading causes of avoidable blindness in the older population. When blood sugar levels remain chronically high, the blood vessels in the retina are damaged. They begin to leak fluid, or in severe cases become completely obstructed. The body attempts to compensate by growing new fragile vessels, but these are prone to rupture and bleeding. This is the genesis of diabetic retinopathy. By the time noticeable symptoms appear, the damage is often extensive. The truth is encouraging. These outcomes are not predetermined. You possess a greater degree of control than you may believe, and small, consistent behavioral changes produce significant results. If you notice persistent blurred vision, or if straight lines appear distorted or wavy, do not delay. Cover one eye at a time and rigorously test your vision. If something is definitively wrong, schedule an appointment with an eye specialist immediately. I must emphasize this point. You need to consult an ophthalmologist, not merely the optometrist who performs glasses checks. An ophthalmologist is a medical professional trained to diagnose and treat ocular diseases before they become advanced. If you are over 60, I insist upon an annual dilated eye exam. The procedure is quick, poses no discomfort, and allows your doctor to directly examine the retina where significant issues often begin covertly. If they request a follow-up in 3 months, you must attend. delaying follow-up care often leads to irreversible outcomes. Protecting your vision is not solely about optimal nutrition. It is a commitment to awareness, proactive monitoring, and listening to your body's signals. Your eyesight is your fundamental connection to the world, and you are responsible for maintaining its strength. I recognize that for many over the age of 60, the concept of vision decline is often rationalized as an inevitable consequence of aging. Phrases such as "this is just what happens" or "there is nothing left to be done" are common. Let me state this with absolute certainty: it is not too late. Yes, aging affects all biological systems. Yes, your eyes have functioned tirelessly for decades. But no, you are not powerless, because you retain the ability to make choices every single day. You can control what you consume. You can choose to actively monitor your vision and be attentive to your body. You can choose to see an ophthalmologist before a condition becomes irreversible. These choices, I assure you, are far more significant than you realize. The 5 key foods we have discussed, cantaloupe corn, collard greens, sweet potatoes, and eggs, are not exotic or inaccessible. They are real daily foods, but when integrated, they supply the necessary nutrients to support your retina, optimize circulation, mitigate inflammation, and safeguard your ability to see clearly. Even if your vision is already compromised, there is still time to reinforce your current ability and slow the progression of change. I have witnessed this in clinical practice. I have seen blurred vision stabilize. I have seen individuals transition from requiring amplified lighting and larger text to reading a grandchild's note with complete ease. This is not a miraculous event. It is the predictable outcome of finally providing the body with the sustained support it has always needed. If no one has recently affirmed this to you, allow me to be direct. Your health is fundamentally worth the effort. Your vision remains worth the action of protecting it. You are not beyond the point of intervention. If this video provided tangible assistance, I would genuinely appreciate a like. This data indicates the value of this information. If a loved one could benefit from this information, please share it with them. If you have relevant personal experiences or effective tips, please enter them in the comments section below. I review them, and frequently your contributions inspire and motivate others to take necessary action. Finally, if you are new here and seek more advice that is science-backed and focused on healthy living after 60, please strongly consider hitting the subscribe button. Thank you for viewing, for prioritizing your health, and for being present.